Rabbil Alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Madam Speaker, distinguished guests, colleagues, students, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and selamat pagi kepada semua. On behalf of the committee, I would like to welcome all the participants to this webinar session. For your information, this is a part of webinar series organized by Shariah in Built Environment Research Group, SiBE, Southeast Asia Built Environment Research Center, by Faculty of Architecture, Planning and Surveying, UiTM, FSPU UiTM, in collaboration with Muamalah in Islamic Built Environment, MIBE, of Academic of Contemporary Islamic Studies, IGIS. Before we proceed with the webinar session today, let us recite Umul Kitab Al-Fatihah. Thank you all for spending your time today to this event. Before we begin, I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Awang Ihsan bin Awang Yunus. As a moderator for today, I'm from UiTM Cawangan, Sarawak, Senior Lecturer of Department in Quantity Surveying, FSPU. Today, we are so glad to have our honorable speaker to share her research topic, to share her expertise on the field in Shariah in built environment. Before we begin, there is little housekeeping before we start the event. To all participants, please ensure that your mic is in a mute mode during presentation to avoid any disruption. Since we have only 1 hour of session today, should you have any questions or comments regarding this topic or this webinar, you may email directly to the speaker. She will post her email in the chat box, and the participant can ask questions or give any comments, feedbacks regarding the topic today. The attendance link will be given in the chat box around 15 minutes before the webinar's end. So, before we call upon our respective speaker, I would like to give a brief introduction about our speaker today. She is an assistant professor and currently the program director of Department of Quantity Surveying, Construction Project Management at the Heriot-Watt University, Malaysia. She is a chartered surveyor RICS, registered member of RISM, and professional QS of a BQSM. She has published works on Takaful for construction works, risk management for housing development, procurement, and quantity surveying. Her research interests are construction procurement and contract administration, Shariah compliant construction contracts, risk management for construction works, and property development. And she is also the associate member of Chartered Institute of Islamic Finance Professionals, specializing in takaful and micro-takaful for construction works and property development. For today's webinar, the speaker has chosen the title of Takaful for Construction Works, Concept and Applications. Without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the speaker today, Surveyor Dr. Puteri Farah Naadia Muhammad Fauzi, to deliver her presentation. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before I start, let me share with you my slides. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you to Surveyor Awang. And before I start my sharing today, I would like to express my gratitude specifically to Prof. Khairuddin that has helped in inviting me as a speaker today. And I'm honored to be invited by the faculty at FSPU and also the group SiBE. As a speaker today, I'm happy to share with all of you on the concept and application of Takaful for construction works. My sharing today starts with the discussion on risks and their presence in related to construction works. Then it also include insurance of works as the protection against loss and damages that will be discussed further. The sharing today also include discussion on how the protection of construction works is provided or offered under the Shariah. Its concept, focusing on its concept and application of Takaful for construction works. And furthermore, comparative analysis conducted in relation to the practice of insurance and Takaful, in particular to the works protection. And lastly, I will also share with you all on my conclusion and recommendation, especially on the current issues and works within the practice of Takaful for construction works. To understand better on the requirement and the need to have protection or insurance, especially in the practice of the Malaysian construction industry, it is best to understand the existence of risks and how they are actually related to the construction works. Existence of risk is unavoidable. Risks refers to a situation or condition in which there is an exposure to loss. The occurrence of risk could cause loss and damages, hence drives any individuals or people or any entities or groups to seek for protection. The protection is expected to provide guarantee as well as compensation of specified loss or damages shall the risk occur. Risk can be mitigated through various of ways, which include avoidance of risk where eventually loss and damage are eliminated, risk reduction that include technique to reduce the potential of severity of losses. And risk can also be mitigated through the process of retaining risk by accepting predicted losses, which is called risk retention. And when we talk about the concept of insurance, it is applied through transferring risk. And here risks are shifted through an agreement, and when risks happen, compensation is to be provided to or paid to the insured. Alternatively, risk can also be mitigated by sharing them with others who have similar intention of being protected. This is based on a mutual protection and indemnity principles, which is practiced in Shariah compliant insurance or Takaful. Literally, in the context of Islamic financial transactions, risk implies several meanings, or various meanings, such as exposure or loss or fear of destruction due to unpredictable event in future. In Islam, it strongly encourages people to anticipate and take steps to mitigate risk. As Muslims, we are required not only to accept our faith, but also we have to make effort in reducing hardship and loss that we can predict can happen in the future. Islam allows the protection of risk based on the concept of risk sharing, where individuals or people in a group mutually agreeing to assist and protect each other. And this method is applied through a protection scheme called Takaful, or known as Shariah compliant insurance. The existence of risk in construction works and activities is inevitable. Construction is a completed work that involves the process of commissioning, design and management, and erecting materials to form a building or structure. It also involves complicated activities and processes that expose the works to high possibility of a variety of risks. For example, natural disasters, workmanship and design failures, or lack of supervision and expertise, and etc. In the event of risk, if it's occur, there will be high possibility of adversity, which involve a huge amount of loss and damages, and therefore protection of construction works is required and needed and important to be procured. All right. The procurement of insurance is a condition precedent to the commencement of the work for contractor to ensure works against loss and damage as prescribed by many major standard form of construction contract. With reference to the PW203 and PWD203A, insurance for works is specifically stated in Clause 18. Clause 18, insurance of works. Under this clause, there are actually 4 subclauses specified in relation to insurance of works. Firstly, the contractor is required to procure insurance against loss and damage to the works from a variety of risks or perils that is specified in the construction contract, and to have the coverage to the full amount or value to the works, or what we call as contract sum. A contractor has to procure insurance from the insurance company approved by the superintending officer, SO, and contractor also is required to produce the insurance policy with the receipt of premium paid. And this document shall be the document as the condition precedent to the commencement of the work. SO then may extend or renew the insurance policy in the event if the contractor failed to do so. And if there is loss and damage occur, the contractor is obliged to restore the damage of work, the damaged works, even before the payout of the insurance company received. And on cancellation of insurance, the insurance policy can only be cancelled upon the issuance of CCMGD, or what we call as Certificate of Completion of Making Good Effects. The Clause 18, insurance of works, key events are illustrated in the form of a timeline that is provided before you. This illustration is a general overview with a specific reference to the PW3 203 and 203A, standard form of construction contract, where contractor is required to effect and maintain the period of the insurance of works policy covered from the date of commencement of works until the date of practical completion. In the event where extension of time or EOT is granted to the contractor, the period of insurance policy must be extended to cover the additional period of works at 1 month before the practical completion. Contractor or risk. The protection of construction works against loss and damage is covered under a typical policy called contractors or risk. This policy is famous or commonly known as CAR, called as CAR policy, offered by many insurance companies in Malaysia. It is available in the market in Malaysia, and it is specifically designed as a combined policy comprising of insurance of works and third-party liability that can occur in connection with the contract works. Specifically under a typical CAR policy, Section 1 in this policy specified coverage against loss and damage to works and temporary works under construction, materials, plants, and other things brought onto site by the contractor. In terms of provision under this CAR policy, a typical policy shall include 9 main provisions, where it starts from the scope of coverage, and it specifies client and main contractor as the parties covered. It also specifies the provision of risk that is based on construction contract and any additional requirement of risk to be covered from the client. It also includes exclusion clauses, extension risk cover with additional rates, some cover that is to the full amount of the works or contract sum. It also includes deductible clause where small claims is to be borne by the insured. Premium rates is also included where it will be determined by the underwriter of the policy. And lastly is the maintenance period, which provide cover to the period where works are to be carried out on any rectification or defects. Talking about convention and insurance in Malaysia, the awareness of Takaful began in June 1972 when the National Fatwa Committee of Malaysian Islamic Affairs Council, which is under the Department of Islamic Development Malaysia, JAKIM, issued a decree that the conventional insurance is prohibited or haram. This is due to the existing elements of uncertainty, or in Arabic it's called gharar, the involvement of interest, riba, and the presence of gambling, which is called maisir, in conventional insurance transactions. A consistent decree has also been issued by JAKIM in 2019 that it specifies the current implementation of Takaful in Malaysia is in line with the Shariah. In addition to that, they also issued another decree that emphasized Muslims should choose an insurance system based on the Shariah, which is called Takaful. And in addition to the prohibition of this conventional insurance, renowned scholar Yusuf Al-Qaradawi has stressed that although the practice of conventional insurance, where it involved prohibitory elements in its insurance transaction, the concept of insurance itself is not contradicting with the Islamic teachings. Sharia only opposes the involvement of prohibition elements, which is riba, gharar, and maisir, in the conventional insurance transactions. But the concept of having protections against risks or difficulties that we can predict in the future is very much encouraged in Islam. So Takaful is introduced as an alternative protection scheme to the insurance, conventional insurance plan. Takaful is also known as a Sharia compliant insurance, where obviously it is from the name, it is known to be a Sharia-based protection scheme that is in line with all the requirements of the Sharia. Takaful is a mutual agreement between parties in which they agree to provide material assistance to one another or a group in time of any misfortune. The word takaful is actually derived from an Arabic word, which is kafala, that means joint guarantee. Here, it is referred to a group of people to jointly guarantee themselves against any defined loss which may occur in a specific event. The principle of mutual assistance, which is called ta'awun, and also the principle of contribution in the form of donation, that is called tabarruk, form the operation of takaful as a whole. Both principles are permissible in Islam, and it binds the system of Islamic protection scheme that prohibits the existing elements of usury, gambling, and uncertainties. The concept of takaful, which is based on these two principles of mutual assistance and tabarruk, or donation, is actually simplified in a form of diagram or figure here, where here the principle of mutual assistance is applied where takaful participants help each other in a group. The risk is shared among participants, and the contract binds between participant and takaful operator, which acts as a fund manager in managing the risk and investment portfolio of the fund. Each takaful participant is required to pay donation in or what we call as tabarruk, which will be managed by the takaful operator. The donation by participant will be put into a fund that will be utilized in assisting participant in the event of any risk to cover the participant from the loss and damages that they suffered. If there is no claim made, the amount of money in the fund will be distributed accordingly based on an agreed portion. And the principle of donation is not aiming to profit from uncertainties, but to fulfill obligations of mutual protection and assistance. The fund that contributed by the participant just now is also allowed to be invested in any Sharia approved investment to generate income. The profit of the investment shall be credited back to strengthen the takaful fund. The principle of takaful for construction works are also observed through key principle of business transaction, what we call as muamalah under the Shariah. The takaful certificate does not allow, does not involve any intention in making gain or in making profit, but rather establishing mutual protection and assistance between contracting parties. Takaful that based on these two principles shall then remove the involvement of prohibitory element of usury, uncertainty, and gambling. And in takaful, the operator, which is the takaful company, or what we call or registered in BNM as takaful operators, is required to have a Shariah advisory board. The board normally comprises of Shariah experts and scholars, and basically they have to ensure that the activities conducted by the operator in managing the fund are in compliance with the requirement of the Shariah. CAR Takaful, or Contractors All Risk Takaful. Protection for Takaful works through protection of construction works through Takaful are also available and offered in Malaysia by Takaful operators. In the practice of Takaful, the protection is specified in a CAR Takaful certificate. Similar to CAR insurance policy, this CAR Takaful certificate also provides coverage for both works and materials as well as third-party liability. And in terms of provisions, a typical CAR Takaful also include 9 main provisions in the certificate. Generally, all the provisions look the same, similar to the CAR insurance policy, but there are a few provisions specified differently due to the concept and principles of Takaful. For example, in CAR Takaful, it includes contribution rates, not premium rates, as per specified in CAR insurance policy. So, what are actually the difference between insurance and takaful? The comparison between these two forms of protection are explained in terms of similarities and dissimilarities in the application of construction works protection. In the practice of conventional insurance, a person enters into a sale purchase agreement in order to buy an insurance policy. He is required to pay a fixed premium, and in return, the insurance company agrees to bear risk and pay compensation in the event of loss or damages, which are covered under the policy. So with the payment of an insurance premium, the risk borne by the person just now is transferred to the insurance company, and the insurance company will bear the risk. So there is an involvement of exchange, or what we call as sell and buying, where the insured will buy the insurance property with the payment through the payment of premium, and the insurer will provide coverage by providing the insurance policy, just now CAR policy, and from that sale and purchase agreement, it is confirmed that the insurance company will bear the risk. So here the concept of risk transfer is applied. In contrast, under a takaful scheme, risks are shared among the takaful participants, where there's no involvement of transferring risk by an individual or entity involved. Takaful operator, which has been appointed to manage the takaful fund, will ensure that each of the takaful participants pay an equal amount of contribution and get equitably compensation in the occurrence of any losses or damages that they will suffer in the event of risk. Okay, so here the takaful participant in a group agree to help each other, and with the agreement to agree to help and assist each other, they willingly to pay contributions which they understand as a donation. So when donation involved, there is no expectation to gain profit, but it is an agreement to help each other. In a case that anyone in the group will suffer from loss and damages from any risk in future. So there's no involvement of risk transferring, but the concept is actually risk sharing. A conventional insurance contract, in terms of the concept, is based on an exchange type of contract and offers a sale and purchase agreement between the insurer and the insured. So the insured here is the one that requires protection, and the insurer is the insurance company. The insurance company will sell a guarantee in a form of insurance policy to a prospective insured for a premium. So once a premium paid by the insured, the prospective insured, then the prospective insured will be the policy holder. Upon signing of the insurance policy, the insured will be provided with an insurance policy that entitle him to claim in the event of loss and damage arising from the specified and agreed events. Conversely, in Takaful, there's no buying and selling of policy practice, but the contract is a sharing contract, which is bound by the contract of Tabaru. And with the concept of mutual assistance and donation, the practice of Takaful does not include or remove the involvement of prohibitory elements, which is usury, uncertainties, and gambling. Currently, there are more than 10 Takaful operators that offer protection of construction works through the procurement of CAR certificate. There are here is actually one of the example from one of the insurance company, which also being the Takaful operator, which is Atika Insurance and Atika Takaful. Offered by them, they offer a contractor or risk policy. They also offer contractor or risk Takaful certificate. The certificate or policy, as well as the details of the coverage, for example, product disclosure sheet or any standard premium or contribution rates, are actually available and accessible by the public on the insurance or Takaful operator official web page. The list of operators, Takaful operators and insurance company is also available and accessible on the BNM, Bank Negara Malaysia official website. So any of us can go in the web page to get the typical certificate or typical policy, and also details that is accessible on their web page. In relation to insurance of work, a comparative analysis has been conducted. I've conducted a comparative analysis where CAR insurance policy being compared one-to-one with CAR Takaful certificate. So the main provisions and specification under each of the policy and certificate are being compared. This is the analysis, a summary of the analysis that I have conducted. And In relation to insurance of works, based on the comparative analysis of the current CAR available, the practice does not differentiate between takaful or conventional insurance, meaning that all the provisions are provided similarly in terms of its practice and application. However, both forms of insurance actually differ in terms of the concept and principles. So in terms of the operation, where compliance with the requirement of the Shariah, non-involvement of the prohibitory elements, and surplus share condition, wakalah fee, all these are not included in a CAR insurance policy. However, in terms of scope of cover, in terms of parties covered, sum insured where it should be equal to the total construction sum, additional of the contract sum, period of cover where it should cover from the commencement date to the practical completion date, and extend to the CCMGD, certificate of completion making effects, in terms of loss and damage, in terms of general exclusion, all other special conditions, and additional contribution or premium for a specific risk required by the client. All of these are actually provided in both of the policy and certificate respectively. In conclusion, the application of muamalat or Islamic Shariah business transaction, including in the construction industry, is now a common phenomenon where statistics provided by agencies, including Central Bank of Malaysia, Bank Negara Malaysia, show that the phenomenon is becoming in a rising trend. Fundamentally, the presence of the element of gharar, uncertainty, maisir, which is gambling, and usury, which is the interest, are the reason why conventional insurance are forbidden or haram, hence making it non-Shariah compliant. However, alternatively, through takaful, the application of ta'awun, which is mutual assistance, and tabarruk, which is voluntary donation or contribution, eliminates the presence of these prohibitory elements and making takaful as a Shariah compliant insurance or protection scheme. In Malaysia, both insurance schemes, the conventional insurance and takaful, are available to everyone. It is available in the market, and contractor also have an option whether to procure conventional insurance or takaful certificate. In the conduct of their respective business, both insurance is actually robustly governed by relevant agencies. However, takaful offers a credible alternative to conventional insurance in which they are actually compliant with the requirement of the Shariah. To Muslims specifically, takaful offers advantages in terms of providing the Muslims with the opportunity to conduct their affairs, our affairs, that meets the requirement of the Shariah. And this aspect is important as Muslim conducting their daily lives and affairs, including business transactions that meet the requirement of the Shariah, is treated as an act of ibadah or worship to Allah. And in relation to construction work specifically, development on the practice of how claims in takaful are conducted development or application of a suitable model of takaful in relation to construction works or property development, and also development of guidelines and standard frameworks are actually ongoing and has shown positive interest both in academic as well as in the industry. There's a lot of debates, discussions, and talks on this takaful, which make its application in the construction industry currently it's start to be a trend or rising in terms of its interest. However, it is admitted that there's still lack of literature reviews or studies in the subject of takaful, which then issues such as lack of transparency and disclosure, so shortage of expertise and unstandardized framework and guidelines, specifically in the practice of construction works, are among the concern and can be recommended further for study and discussion. So to end this, hopefully this sharing shall inspire more works and publication in the industry and industry discussion in the area of takaful in construction. I think that's all from me. Thank you. I hope I'm giving sufficient time for us to have a little bit discussion or question and answer. At least we still have 10 minutes. Is that okay?
Okay. If what do you call this? We can actually begin with the Q&A session because the speaker has allowed a few minutes for us before 12 p.m. So if any participant would like to ask questions or give opinion or comment, number one, you can use the chat box on your right hand side to ask questions, or you just simply can unmute your mic and then directly ask the questions to the speaker. Kita tunggu sekejap mungkin tengah menaip ke apa. Alright, okay, sementara kita tunggu sementara kita tunggu soalan daripada daripada partisipan, saya nak saya akan letak attendance list ataupun link attendance for today's event on the chat box on the right hand side. Actually for the UiTM staff boleh isi untuk tujuan jam latihan. Okay, dah ada. Okay, if any participant would like to have any would like to ask or have any questions regarding the topic for today, you may unmute your mic and then can directly ask the questions to the speaker.
No questions. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. Hi Faris, how are you? How long do I think it will take to realize application of takaful in construction? Well, to say it is not realized probably is not accurate, because the product is there already in the market. But probably to see it grows and to see the procurement go beyond or further, I don't have actually a specific timeline, but of course the hope is to see it can grow further rapidly, and this require more publications, more awareness, and in the academia, there's a lot more to look into, not just particularly on the concept and application of the Takaful, but more towards how it is being operated, the working procedures, the actual conduct, and to cater all the issues. So to see that it's not being applied yet, it's not really accurate, because it's there already in the market, and contractors is actually already have the option whether they want to take Takaful, to procure Takaful or not. And to look into whether it can be specifically written as a standard insurance to be procured by the Takaful, it has to be in the construction contract, and that requires a certain time for the authority to look into it, and probably we can have better one in the future. I hope I'm answering your question, because I'm part of it, and I'm contributing. I hope others will contribute also if you are interested in the topic, so we can together make it progress better. This insurance can be compulsory. Well, insurance is compulsory for any construction contract, be it building, foremost, or what. But if you're talking about Takaful, well, because all the projects are bind under a standard form of construction contract, where it does not specifically specify for contractor to take Takaful or insurance. It is still an option to the contractor to take any kind. Yeah, it can be. It is a good thought, but requires an amendment or requires a specific provision in the construction contract to allow this. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. May I know the acceptance of Takaful by construction players generally? How about acceptance of non-Muslim construction players? Well, a specific study have been conducted on this, but it has been quite some time. I conducted it. A survey has been conducted where the application in terms of its acceptance is acceptable, which is more than 75% of the participant accept having Takaful as as an alternative to conventional insurance for construction works. And this survey also involved around 40% of non-Muslim. So they are accepting it, and they have interest to use or to procure Takaful. However, in terms of whether their project specifically use Takaful or not is another issue, because now there's an issue of certain of project have a specific insurance panel for the contractor to take. Okay, so especially all with these big companies or big projects, big clients, they already have their own insurance panel, and in this insurance panel, only a few Takaful or some of the insurance panels list does not include Takaful insurance inside. So that's why they govern that. So that's part of the issue.
Alright. Ada satu soalan. Ada someone yang tanya tapi dia tak tanya kat sini lah. It's
So dia
about
tanya kat mana tu?
commercializing the Takaful. What would be your strategy or method to actually commercialize the Takaful, especially to all those big companies here? What would be your way supaya nanti tak adalah kita just nak pakai insurans yang being listed, kan? Mungkin boleh letak Takaful as one of maybe main insurance by the big company, because like you said just now, big company have their own list ataupun memang dah ada what do you call this, insurance company yang they prefer to. But how you will commercialize this ataupun nak make sure that people will, tak adalah semua nak pakai pun, but mostly mungkin akan go to the way of using Takaful as one of the alternative.
Okay. Personally, I believe that if you are serious in implementing this Shariah compliant construction contract, we shall get back to the authority and look back at our construction contract, standard form of construction contract, and if it's if we can have provision saying that it is Shariah compliant, so taking Takaful, it's best for Shariah compliant, especially for the Muslims. So probably it can then be commercialized better. Otherwise, in terms of commercialization, because it is there already, the product is there already in the market. So it is to generate further understanding, further education, and to put into one of these, like for example, just now, list of the insurance panel, or in the tendering document, that both can also be applied, and to emphasize that, because currently we don't have that. We just leave it to contractor to deal with it. As long as we can get the policy cover that can cover whatever we require in the construction contract, that's fine with us. So this might then be extended more.
All right. If we have a few minutes left, if anybody or any participant would like to ask questions, you may use the chat box here, or you can unmute your mic and ask directly to the speaker. Yeah, there was one more question here at the chat box.
Takaful compared to other insurance. When a survey conducted, some of them come back and say that the contributions of Takaful, the contribution rates, we have premium, we have contribution in Takaful, it's a little bit higher than the premium. Than the premium. So that's one of the drawback that they can see. And to compare in terms of product offering, they're still relatively low in terms of Takaful operators that offer CAR. Not all Takaful operator in Malaysia offer contractors or risk. But as to compare with the insurance company, most of them offer construction contractors or risk policy. So here are some of the things that one, probably they are not aware, and second, when they have experience in procuring Takaful and the contribution rates are higher, they will then turn back and choose insurance. And to look why the contribution rates are higher, because Takaful requires fund to be managed separately. So some of these include expertise costs, includes a financial cost. So the contribution rates are shown, generally they are shown contribution rates by the Takaful are higher than insurance. And from my general survey to some other product, they also say the same, where contribution rates and also family or life are higher than premium. So therefore, some might then be more interested to choose what is cheaper. Yeah.
All right. I think that I can maybe accept for one more questions from the participants. If anybody would like to ask the questions,
In your opinion, Doctor, should government consider to revise? I had, together with Prof. Karudin, discussion with the government and the relevant bodies to look into this. But of course, I'm not in the government, so I do not know what's the further plan. But yes, we had discussion led by Prof. Karudin on to look into a simple provision to be included in the standard form of contract where Takaful is to be to also be procured by the contractor, especially Muslims contractor. Yeah, and personally, in my opinion, yes, it should. Especially when we are talking about how serious, if they are serious in the application or in introducing Shariah compliant construction contract. So definitely this should be considered. Surveyor Awang, before I end, I would like to say thank you to everyone again, but I would like to also welcome all of you. If you have any interest in Takaful for construction works, protection works, Shariah compliant protection, risk management, procurement, you may contact me. And I am also honored and will help again SiBE and FSPU if there is any more collaboration or talks further on in the future. Yeah.
all right. No problem, Doctor. Thank you very much. If any participant would like to contact the speaker regarding anything, especially on the topic for today, you can email her directly. I think the email is in the chat box. You can you can put your email again one more time. Right, I think that's all for today. Alhamdulillah, we have come to the end of the webinar session. Again, we would like to say thank you to our speaker for sharing the informative talk, and thank you to all participants for allocating your time for this webinar. For your information, this recorded webinar will be available in SiBE website as well as SiBE YouTube channel. The YouTube channel, I think, hold on, I post it on this chat box here. So you can refer to the YouTube channel if you want to have a look at the recorded webinar session for today. So, and again, if you're interested to know about the SiBE, you're welcome to visit the website. So, I think that's all for today. Thank you very much again, Doctor, for the talk today. Thank you very much for all the participants. Thank you. Terima kasih. See you next time. InsyaAllah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, everyone. Bye. Assalamualaikum.